Once you're aware of a thought, it loses its power to have a feeling over you.
Based on the science, there is only a 90-second chemical release in your body. It's called the 90-second rule.
I was annoyed by how all the journalists asked all the athletes the same stupid question, literally.
आपके अंदर की बिलीफ को बढ़ाने हम लाए हैं किंगस्टॉक। इस वीडियो को देखने के बाद आपके अंदर की विश्वास 100% गेन होगा, 100% बूस्ट करेगा। आपकी मन की विश्वास बढ़ाना ज़रूरी है ताकि आप जो काम कर रहे हैं वो और अच्छी तरह से। इस वीडियो में आपके साथ शेयर करूंगा दुनिया की कुछ पावरफुल लोगों की हैबिट्स जो देखने के बाद आपके अंदर की विश्वास को और मजबूत होगा। वीडियो को स्किप ना करें और पूरा देखें। तो शुरू करते हैं रूल नंबर 1 के साथ, एलिगेंस योर थॉट्स एंड फीलिंग्स।
I'm a huge believer in the power of intention and awareness. So when these negative thoughts creep in, whatever they are, fear, I'm aware of my own thinking. And once you're aware of a thought, it loses its power to have a feeling over you. This is what most people don't understand. So we're all going to have those thoughts like, oh, I'm losing my dad. It's a horrible thing. When you're aware of that negative thought, the feeling loses its power over you. One of the things that I think people need to start to understand is if you don't align your thoughts and your feelings, neither one has any power. There has to be a congruency between what you're thinking and what you're feeling. That's why, like, for example, when people set up all these goals, I'm going to make $1 million, or I'm going to go to the NFL, or I'm going to be happy, or I'm going to lose 20 pounds. In the moment you're having that thought, if you're feeling that you can't have it, if you're feeling that's not going to happen, your body, which is your unconscious mind actually at work, the feeling overrides the thought and that goal has no power. So if you can begin to visualize what your goals are and allow yourself to feel it in the present time, and there's the gift I'll give you. If you could already experience gratitude for an event or a goal that has not yet happened, but you can experience the gratitude. So when you'd have these visualizations, you probably didn't know you were doing it when you played, but you're visualizing the catch. You're visualizing the celebration. You're already in a gratitude state about having received the goal you have. Yeah. Now you've aligned in congruence your feelings with your thoughts. Now you're a powerful MFer. But what most people do in their life is they either have the conscious thoughts overridden by their like lack. I have never done this before. I'm not going to do it. I've always been 20 pounds overweight. I don't have $1 million in the bank. And they write down all these goals that aren't linked with the feeling. And people say, well, how do I get the feeling? You get the feeling by having gratitude for the
Rule number 2, make fear your superpower.
Face some type of adversity or challenge where your identity is shifted and rocked. It is a scary time because I had to look at every fear, swear to God, for the next 3 years of my life, Matthew, I looked at every fear. I wrote them all down on a list, my biggest fears. And I just said, these things have power and control over me. And I need to become like Batman and live in a cage with all these fears. And until I can stand up and see all my fears around me and be able to stand up with power, with command, and not be afraid of all the fear, not be afraid of the bats hitting my face, but actually embrace the bats and take it all on. And that's what I did for the next 3 to 5 years. I wrote down a list of my biggest fears. I did them all one by one, and it was miserable. I was afraid of public speaking, so I did it every week for a year. I was afraid of salsa dancing, so I did it every week for years. I was afraid to sing in public. All these things I was afraid of, I said, no longer will they have power over me. And I was afraid to launch a business, afraid to do an interview show, all these things. And I just kept doing my fears and made those fears a superpower. And I think that's what's helped me along my career.
Rule number 3, use the 90 seconds rule.
You know that wave that you feel, or your tongue gets numb, or you get tightness in your cheeks, or you freeze? You know when that happens? Based on the science, there is only a 90-second chemical release in your body. It's called the 90-second rule. When your body stomach starts to flutter, when your heart starts to race, when you feel this feeling of fear that you have that's unique to you, based on the science, there's a 90-second rule, and all of the chemical release that's happening because your body is going into a state of being alert, it only sticks around for 90 seconds. As long as you don't let your thoughts race. If your thoughts start to race, you'll start to agitate the situation. So what we want you to do, what I want you to do, and if you go to melrobbins.com/takecontrol and you download the 55-page workbook that goes with our audio book that is the #1 new release on Audible called Take Control, How to Silence Fear and Win the Mental Game, If you look on pages 12 and 13 of the workbook, there's a long list of things that you can do to slow your body response to fear down. So the next time that your body goes into a state of alert, stomach gets tight, you feel frozen, you get stuck, you feel your neck, when the body starts to do that, number one, just remember, it means your body is getting ready to be alert and pay attention. And it does not mean you're going to lose control. It does not mean you're in danger. It does not mean to stop or to shut up. I want you to take a deep breath. Count to 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. And realize that the hormones that just got released because you're about to do something, they only last 90 seconds. That's it. You can breathe slowly. You can count to 90. You can get up and walk around. You can do 90 seconds of jumping jacks. You can meditate for 90 seconds. You can ground your feet in your chair and wiggle a minute so that you feel your body in your chair. And take deep breaths. And what you're going to find is that you're going to be blown away. You're going to be blown away because what you're going to see is that in 90 seconds flat, you can go from being somebody who has an upset stomach and who would normally not go talk to your boss, who would normally not walk into that gym, who would normally not make that call. In 90 seconds flat, you can manipulate your body state to calm down, and you will notice that your thoughts do not race. Your thoughts calm down, you're in full control, and now you can speak up, and now you can show up. And here's what's even cooler. By doing this, by interrupting the fear response and the thoughts racing, you're retraining your body response to situations. The more you do this, the less on edge you're.
Tool number 4, confront your fear. Type, change your narrative.
And this is what I realized this when I was watching the London Olympics, so a couple Olympics ago. And I was annoyed by how all the journalists asked all the athletes the same stupid question. Literally, everyone. Were you nervous? Or are you nervous? Whether it was before or after the event. Every single time. And every single time, all the athletes gave the exact same answer. No, I was excited. No, I'm excited. Every single time. These elite athletes had learned to interpret body stimulus. What are the signs of nervousness? Your heart races, you visualize the future, your hands get clammy. What are the stimulus for excitement? Your heart races, you visualize the future, your hands get clammy. They had learned to interpret what their body was telling them, not as nerves, but as excitement. And the reason the journalists said, were you nervous, is because they would be nervous. Athletes would never say that to each other. They say, that was exciting. So I tried it. I did a little test on myself, right? I'm on a plane. We start hitting some really bad turbulence. I go, and then I say to myself, literally out loud, this is exciting. And I was fine. And I was fine. So I do it a lot now. When I find myself getting nervous, I say to myself, this is so exciting, and I'll explain the reason to myself why. So, like an actor, you don't get nervous when you go on stage anymore, but occasionally you do. So I get to go on stage a lot, and I don't really get nervous much anymore, but I was going to present to 3,000 chiefs of police right in the middle of all this police brutality hullabaloo. And I got really nervous because the stakes were really high, you know? And I was literally getting nervous backstage. And I said to myself, this is so exciting. I have an opportunity to talk to a group of people who can actually affect change in this country. This is really exciting. Now, I could have said the same thing. I'm so nervous. I'm about to talk to people who can... But the interpretation was excitement. Just change.
And rule number 6, hang out with confident people.
More confident? Be more fearless and take chances to step up where maybe people are hiding.
Yep. So, you know how earlier I said I don't know how to teach you empathy? because I don't. I used to answer this question the same way. And then the cool thing about life is you get wiser, you watch, and something breaks through. And I actually have an answer for this, and I don't say it a lot, and I'm super pumped you asked me, so thank you. You need to do two things. You need to start hanging out with people that are overly confident. You need to look around your world, friends of friends, go to meetups, look in your office, remember a friend from college or high school. You need to become friends with more people that are confident, and tomorrow you have to cut out one of your friends who's pessimistic and negative out of your life. Not totally, but you don't need to talk to her or him 3 times a day, maybe 3 times a month.
I hope वीडियो को देखकर आप ये हैबिट अपनी ज़िंदगी में काम में लगाएंगे, और कौन सा हैबिट आपको अच्छा लगा ये कमेंट में ज़रूर बताइए। चैनल को अभी तक सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, वीडियो को अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ शेयर कीजिए।